Every season of Survivor is a story, but sometimes that story can be told over the course of multiple seasons. Some players will have 2-part stories, while others can play 4 or even 5 times and have a much longer tail. So why do some players rise and fall and never recover, while others can fall and still get back up and succeed? Well, today we're gonna see the rise, fall, and destruction of JT Thomas, aka the Chosen One, who first played on Season 18, Survivor Tocantins, but this time with secret scenes that they cut out of the show.
39 days, 16 people, 1 survivor.
JT Thomas, a 24-year-old cattle rancher from Mobile, Alabama, was a castaway and the eventual winner of Survivor's 18th season, Survivor Tocantins. JT changed Survivor forever when he played the first ever perfect game of Survivor. No one cast a vote against him, and everyone voted for him to win it all. To this day, you can count how many players have pulled this off on one hand. So how did JT pioneer what was thought to be unthinkable at the time? Let's find out. We start off Survivor Tocantins with JT on Jalapao, the red tribe. The black tribe is Timbira. So the season starts off with Jeff saying, let's play a fun game. It's called You Get to Hike 4 hours to camp, but before you do that, you need to vote for someone to not join you on this journey. The older lady, Sandy, is voted for by the Jalapao tribe, and she is mad.
Sandy, you can't be happy about this.
I'm pissed. I am so pissed. Obviously, I didn't know it was going to be like this.
As it turns out, the players voted out actually get a helicopter ride to camp instead of having to trek the 4 hours. But while on that hike, we quickly learn who JT is while simultaneously seeing him help his tribe read a compass correctly.
I'm JT, I'm 24 years old, and I'm from Sampson, Alabama. I manage a Black Angus cattle ranch. People's impression of me may be that I'm a hillbilly sometimes, but I consider a hillbilly someone uneducated. I don't think a hillbilly would make it very far in this game. I know I'm going to be good at catching fish, and I know I'm going to be good at providing, but that'll also put me out in front of everybody else. It's a threat eventually. So the biggest challenge for me is going to be fitting in with the people. There's no doubt in my mind I can win, or I just stayed at home. I'm here to win, and I'm going to win.
Already we see JT taking a leadership role and being the smartest one there. Steven says that his first impression of JT is a net negative for him because he is pessimistic that these two will ever be able to work together moving forward.
When I saw at least one sort of good old-fashioned Southern boy, I thought, I'm a little bit screwed. Don't really see us connecting on too many levels. I don't know how much he's gonna like the anxious New York Jew.
Not much else is shown of JT prior to the immunity challenge, but due to no fault of his own, they lose and now they have to vote someone out. Back at camp, Carolina is whining a lot about how the shelter isn't finished yet. And mind you, she was the weakest one in the challenge by far. JT says if she wants the shelter done, then he has a suggestion.
Carolyn starts talking about is how we need to finish stuff around camp.
She's more than welcome to take her ass over and finish the shelter herself.
And as if Carolina wasn't being enough trouble by whining and complaining, we see even more of that in this secret scene that just makes her and Sandy both look absolutely ridiculous.
Oh, was there a bug laying? Is it underneath there? Are you sure that you didn't take it to the spring or take it down there?
Yeah, I left it with you. I mean, you took it from me, and I went to get water.
Well, you gave it to me. I used it and I put it back. Yeah. Sandy accused me of stealing her buff. I didn't take it. I was like, I didn't lose your buff. And she's like, well, I was like, is it by the river? She's like, no, I didn't take it. I was like, are you sure if it's by the river? She's like, no, I didn't take it. And her buff is sitting right there. Where's her buff? You had it by the river.
Caroline, I am telling you, I don't give a what she tells you. This buff I gave to her before I come to get this water. So she's a liar when she said, oh, you left it on the beach. She's a liar, and that's not.
At Tribal Council, Carolina is voted out in a 7-1 landslide.
Carolina, the tribe has spoken.
And that is it for the premiere of Survivor Tocantins. A lot of events took place this episode, and yet despite that, the show still carved out time for us to get to know who JT is and see him leading his tribe, not only on the trek, but at camp building the shelter, and he was the strongest one in the challenge. With how much talk there is at Jalapao about voting out tribe members who are not going to help them win immunity challenges, which is why Carolina was sent home, JT is not in any immediate danger. Episode 2 begins with a revelation. Taj is married to Heisman Trophy winner and former NFL running back Eddie George, who played in the Super Bowl for the Titans. Pretty much everyone knows who he is, except for Steven. JT is blown away and realizes that this is great for him since now others will realize that Taj does not need the $1 million and the title of sole survivor.
I've got a completely different outlook on Taj. Her husband's a very famous football player. So, yeah, she's probably got a lot more money than I do. I hate to judge anybody by how much money they have, but I know I definitely need the $1 million more than Taj does.
Yeah, but Taj being rich is actually a good reason to bring her to the end because it makes the jury less likely to vote for her and give her the $1 million prize. We then see in a secret scene how Stephen Fishback cannot make fire, and then we see JT try and fail, which is unusual for the chosen one, but who actually pulls it off? Sydney, the model. Impressive. I guess that's why it's a secret scene. There's more to her than we fully understand. It is time for the immunity challenge, and while JT does an epic fake out to get a point for his tribe, it all comes down to the last showdown, and... After that epic winning shot by Steven, back at camp we learn that JT has taken the leadership role at Jalapao, and what Steven said in episode 1 has turned out to not be true at all. For the better.
JT has definitely emerged as our tribe leader, and honestly, I'm thrilled to be out here with him. He's like no one I would have ever met back at home, and I think we're getting to know each other, which I thought is sort of surprising because he's the Alabama country boy. He is Tom Sawyer, and I am the angsty city boy. He might just be seducing me with his pretty country ways, but I'm smitten.
It's nice seeing Steven being willing to change his mind on someone when he was originally pessimistic about them. We move on to episode 3 where Jalapao is out fishing utilizing the gear they won at that previous challenge, and we see Steven catch a fish.
This is maybe the first fish I've ever caught.
Oh, it is. Good.
The cut from Steven catching a small fish to JT catching a bigger one is one of those hint editing moments from the storytellers. Anyways, the next morning, everyone slept pretty well, especially Sandy. She is, well, keep in mind that what she says here is while she is staring directly at JT.
I know I'm a sex kitten this morning. There's no doubt in my mind.
Oh dear. Oh boy.
Well then, at the immunity challenge, the tribes have to put together this large staircase puzzle, and JT leads Jalapao on how to do it, and...
JT's across, Spencer's across, Jalapao wins immunity!
Episode 4 begins with a reward challenge that sees 3 players from each tribe having to shoulder a bunch of weight put on by the other team, and as of this time, Rupert from season 7 holds the record for most weight held. So here with JT...
Attaboy, Jet, attaboy, Jet. Yeah, JT.
Strongest man alive. Yeah, JT.
JT drops out after holding 220 pounds, tying Rupert's record from the Pearl Islands.
Due in part to that Herculean effort, Jalapao wins reward, and their reward has JT and Joe getting to go to the Timbira tribe's camp to steal 2 items of their choosing. JT debates on taking both bags of beans, but is worried that if he does this, then a tribe swap would inevitably happen, and then he would force to be on Timbira with no food.
I think it's a very smart idea not to take both sacks of beans because you have to look forward in this game. There could be a switch at any time. And if I was to end up over there on the Timbira tribe with no beans because I just stole both sacks, I'd be pissed.
Upon arriving back at Jalapao, pretty much everyone understands the decision made except Sandy. She thinks he was dumb to not take all of their food. But then again, Sandy has been painted as crazy since the season first began, so what she says here doesn't hold a lot of credibility. And it makes even more sense that Sandy's on the outs considering she sleeps in the dirty shelter rather than down on the beach where everyone else is bonding. But then we see in a secret scene how everyone's like, okay, our shelter sucks since we're on the ground and we're just getting dirty all the time. But more importantly, we need to fix it in case it rains and we can't sleep down on the beach. But I am a bit surprised this scene was even cut considering that shows JT basically holds the power in this tribe and is the leader of Jalapao.
JT has had the plan to lift our shelter off the ground, and it's a good idea. You know, why not try it? And I wanted to show him that I'm behind him 100%, and let's just do it. Let's go.
I don't think I'm the leader of Jalapao. I've just always been one when I'm ready to get something done, I do it myself. So I'm not doing it just to be the leader or do anybody else any favors. I'm doing it because I want to get it done. And that's the best way to do something.
I think
JT holds the power right now, so I'm definitely trying to get on his good side a little bit.
And then in another secret scene, we see Joe saying JT is our leader and I am just trying to be his friend and be on his good side. Wow, JT has garnered a lot of power in only 4 episodes. Jalapao goes on to lose immunity, so back at camp, the scrambling begins. Who will go next? What is important for us is seeing how JT and Steven being depicted as the decision makers for their tribe, and they're debating between Sandy and Sydney. At tribal council, JT is under fire because apparently him and Sydney have been flirting, but Steven has JT's back when he says that, I know JT and Sydney have been flirting, but you should really look at Joe and Sydney because they're on a whole other level.
First of all, I should say that the big flirty relationship has not been mentioned yet, which is between Sydney and Joe. They flirt maybe a little more than JT and Sydney flirt.
And it is true that we did see Sydney scratching JT's back earlier, but her and Joe are on a whole other level of flirtation. But that is all not as important as Sandy being voted out in a 5-1 vote.
Sandy, the tribe has spoken. Time for you to go.
Episode 5 begins with Jalapao winning at the reward challenge, which comes with a lot of good food and also letters from home. This is a big moment for JT as we learn something important about his home life.
My mom's always told me she loves me like 3 times my whole life.
You said it there?
She told me to sing. I almost started crying. So let's try.
Yeah, I almost lost it.
Back at camp, we learn a little bit about Spencer, namely that he is gay and he is hiding this from his tribe because he believes that people like JT would judge him based on the stereotype of a country boy that JT fits into. What Spencer doesn't know is that you really shouldn't judge JT by the cover, as Steven has learned so far. And speaking of Steven, him and JT have bonded super tight to the point that JT says this man is going to be my friend for a long time.
I do like having Steven around. I mean, he's just from such a different part of the world. It's hard to imagine we'd ever been friends otherwise, but I know we will always be friends now.
JT and I have formed a bond. I'm excited to be his friend. He is the likable everyman with the sweet southern drawl and the charming smile. JT has definitely emerged as our tribe leader, and I hope to put myself into a power position, but I'm not the strongest physical competitor, and so I need to be with JT as much as possible.
At the immunity challenge, JT goes beast mode. The Wayne tribe needs 5 points to snag immunity, and JT scores 4 of these points all by himself for Jalapao. He only needs one other person on Jalapao to score 1 point to win it all. However, Taj lets him down by not really defending Brendan at all, and Spencer continually disappoints as well as he allows Timbir to come back into the game and tie it up. But as JT goes to score yet another point, this happens.
JT snags another one for Jalapao. JT has lost a tooth.
JT!
Wait, JT, did you just throw it?
Yeah.
For the first time ever in the history of Survivor, a point was scored while losing a tooth?
But remember when I said Spencer let JT down earlier? Well, it is so bad that Timbira does end up winning immunity due to it, and JT wants Spencer gone next.
I'm doing everything I can to win. I mean, broke the back half of my front tooth off, but it just seemed like some people wasn't giving it all. I don't want to get rid of anyone, but it's got to be Spencer.
In a bold move prior to tribal council, Spencer asks JT who does he want voted out next, and JT says he has 2 options, one of them including...
Where do you think you should go?
I don't know.
You can tell me?
I think you were Taj.
If JT didn't have control of his tribe socially, that could have been his downfall, but he does, and Spencer is gone in a 5-1 vote.
Spencer, tribe has spoken. Time for you to go. Come on, guys.
Episode 6 is a recap episode that has no bearing on the main story, so we move on to episode 7 where JT says he hasn't lied to anyone on Jalapao all game. And heck, he sure hopes no one on Jalapao is lying to him right now either. After all, it is hard for him to be mean to people.
Hopefully everyone's got a good outlook on me. I am a country boy, you know, and it's hard for me to be mean to people.
Depending on your definition of mean, that fight with Spencer and then saying to his face that he could be gone next may be mean, but it all depends on your perspective. However, after JT says he hopes no one is lying to him, we then cut immediately to Taj and Steven, where Taj wants to tell JT about the idol she found, but Steven fears her doing this might make a connection between them that no longer needs him. So he tells her, no, you shouldn't do that. but sells it as something that helps her instead.
I'm gonna tell JT I do have the idol.
JT?
Yeah.
So what does telling him about it accomplish? Taj came and said, I want to tell JT about the idol. Until JT knows, I'm basically controlling the information flow between Taj and JT. And to the extent possible, I want to remain that bridge. Because if they connect, I might become a less essential part of the loop.
We then see Jalapao losing reward, and we hear from JT that while losing reward sucks, it isn't as important to him as the next immunity challenge, because if his calculations are correct, the next episode will be the merge, and if they lose immunity here, Jalapao would enter the merge down in numbers instead of being tied. Back at camp, Taj and Steven are making a fake idol to trick Joe, and when Taj made the fake idol, she used the real one as inspiration, but when she went to rehide that real one, she didn't do a very good job, as JT accidentally stumbles upon it and says, "Hey Steven, look what I found," and Steven completely botches his reaction.
I just walked over there and picked up the bag. And I looked at it and I said, damn, there's a immunity idol.
I know, it's right there. When JT found the idol, I was thinking, what the heck do I say? So I said, I know. And, I don't think I had the appropriate amount of shock on my face.
Thankfully, JT doesn't call Steven out for saying, I know, because JT could have asked why Steven knew and didn't tell him. Steven tells Taj to go for it and tell him, which she does, and this actually results in JT reacting pretty well and them all agreeing to be the final three.
We're going to the merge. We're going
to the merge, we're going to the end.
Yeah, we're going to the end.
At the immunity challenge, this is do or die for JT. He knows that they need to win to help their merge chances, so once again he takes the leadership role and puts himself in the spot to slingshot the 3 tiles together puzzle pieces. However, Tyson on Timbira does a better job and gives his tribe a comfortable head start, and when everyone notices that JT is now falling behind, Tyson offers him a bit of a sarcastic encouragement.
Do you want to keep going?
Yeah, I think I got it, Joe.
I'll come over and do it if you want.
That lead Tyson gave Timbira was crucial, as Jalapao goes on to lose immunity in large part thanks to JT. Back at camp, JT says this really sucks because he was planning on winning this whole game, and now he fears he can't do that with them potentially entering the merge down 4-6. He is then approached by Joe and Sydney to vote out Taj, but JT has no desire to do that to her. So at Tribal Council, Sydney is voted out instead in a 3-2 vote.
Sydney, tribe has spoken.
Episode 8 starts and the tribe is feeling downtrodden. If a merge were to happen, they are struggling since Timbira holds a 6-4 lead over them. It is made even worse when observing Joe's knee and seeing how swollen and red it really is.
Look how hot it is.
Yeah. Oh, shoot. Yeah.
It was all the way out here yesterday and now it's just right there.
As it turns out, if you recall back in episode 5 when I said Joe injured his knee, since then it has gotten infected and pretty gross. However, Jalapao then gets tree mail that sounds a lot like yet another reward challenge, but Steven thinks it might be something else.
I think it's a merge.
I think it's a reward challenge.
Let's take bets. I'll eat your parts of the feast if it's a merge.
No, let's just win, whatever it is.
Whatever it is, we'll win.
Sure enough, Steven is correct, and the merge does indeed happen with a massive feast to go along with it.
Our biggest hope was that today was the merge feast. Less the merge than the merge feast. Jalapao is freaking hungry.
Sure enough, just like JT feared, with the merge happening now, it means that Jalapao is down 4-6, and it doesn't look great when you consider one of their members has a badly injured knee. But a vote is a vote. While everyone is celebrating and feasting, JT asks everyone what do they do for a living.
So everybody's got these history secrets and stuff. I don't know nothing. I'm a poor cattle farmer.
And you're a rocket scientist, though.
Yeah, and a rocket scientist.
I show that because he is planting the seeds of being someone who doesn't have money, which will undoubtedly make a difference if he were sitting at the final 2, maybe even next to Taj. But we move on, as the tribe is now named Forza, a misspelled Portuguese word that Coach suggested, and upon arriving at the old Timbira camp, the new Forza camp, JT is blown away.
Now we're walking into the old Timbira camp, and first of all, we come up to a little doghouse shelter, and I'm like, what is this? I don't know how it was still standing.
I want to preface everything that is about to happen over these next 2 episodes with you knowing that this is all super crucial. JT charmed Jalapao's pants off, and he will be quickly charming all of the old Timbira as well. Everyone who will be on the jury is still in this game right now, and we are about to hear from them all. First, let's start with Coach, who says he loves JT and definitely wants to work with him.
I knew the first time that I looked at JT. I saw the cowboy boots, open, honest face,
and I said to myself, he is a good old boy. We're kindred spirits. We both love the outdoors. I think that we're both warriors.
Remember when previously JT said he hadn't lied to any Jalapao members? Well, he will pretty much stick true to that. But when it comes to the old Timbira, all bets are off. Right away, Coach asked JT if Taj has the hidden immunity idol, which obviously he does know about, but he says,
So you swear to me that Taj does not have it?
I don't know if she's got it or not. If she does, there's 2 idols. I've seen cracks right away. I had some ideas before there ever was a merge. It's hard to keep 6 people from different walks of life to stick together when they hate each other.
But as it turns out, the old Timbira is not as close-knit as Jalapao suspected. In fact, there is a clear divide in the group, with Coach, Tyson, and Debbie wanting to work with JT to vote out Brendan, Sierra, and Aaron.
I want you to think about an alliance with Steven and JT. Stop.
I think he underestimates basically everybody else. We've definitely found inroads into Timbira. This is clearly a very fractured tribe because there's no strong bonds and sense of place. So there's a lot of power dynamics at play that are very easy to exploit.
The next morning, we see JT fishing with Tyson, and he is pleasantly surprised at how well he connects with him, which is then followed by Tyson giving him a hug, something rarely if ever seen by Tyson. We then cut to Tyson talking to Debbie, and immediately Tyson says, I trust JT. He's a good dude. That is a straight shooter. We can trust him, no problem. Which then leads to Debbie saying, yeah, you know what? I like JT and Steven as well.
Coach talked with JT last night, really good.
Okay.
JT's a straight shooter, good guy.
I like JT and Steven both.
And they're both
straight shooters.
As mentioned before, Brendan is the target by the old Timbira, and heck, Jalapao doesn't really care who goes as long as it isn't them. All of the planning to get Brendan out is for naught though, as Joe is medevaced because of his leg injury, and Jalapao is now down 6-3.
He can't continue.
What?
They said the risk of him staying longer was too serious. That if they left him longer in the game, that this could get worse.
We then move on to episode 9, which sees JT talking to Aaron in the same spot he talked to Coach and Tyson, and while with Aaron, she says multiple times that she feels very much burned by the old Timbira and doesn't like them at all, and she is essentially a free agent. Wherever the majority of the votes are going, that's who she's going to vote with. She even says multiple times that she likes Jalapao more than Timbira, and it isn't even close. At the reward challenge, everyone is split up into 3 groups, but the group with JT, Brendan, and Debbie wins. So with that, they get to go on a white water rafting adventure. JT says this is great because he has never done this before in his entire life, and then we hear from Brendan.
The reward was so much fun. Pure joy that was on JT's face to see how much he just soaks it up and appreciates it. What a great soul. It's so sincere, it's so real, like all qualities that you want in people that surround you, or at least I do.
So clearly Brendan is falling a bit in love with JT, but by the time they are done with their trip, I kid you not, Brendan wants to lose the game and help JT get to the final 2 and win instead. This is not hyperbolic at all, and this is a first in the history of Survivor.
I always kind of define winning in a lot of my life of saying, like, I'm gonna be number 1. If I take JT in the finals with me, he's gonna beat me. I know it's crazy, but for me, winning in this game is about getting to an outcome at the end of the game, which is gonna satisfy me. If he wins it, that's like me winning this game. How do I get him to the finals? I don't know. This is the next step I need to wrap my head around. I sat in that shelter and did not sleep at all, just running through all the different scenarios about how do I get JT to the finals.
Wow, who doesn't love JT at this point? Seriously. I guess Sierra hasn't said anything yet, but then we cut to Brendan talking to Sierra about JT, and what do you know?
We had the awesome time. He's such a good dude. Debbie had such a good time with him.
He's one of the most amazing people I've ever met in my life.
That is now every single person of the old Timbira already falling head over heels for JT, except for Aaron. She simply said she liked him and the rest of Jalapao more than her old tribe. We heard Steven say he was smitten with JT in the pre-merge, and heck, they are like peanut butter and jelly with how they go hand in hand, so it could be argued that maybe Taj is the only one left who has not blatantly said she loves JT. But speaking of that,
JT, I think I brought back here to save you. He's such a good dude.
I know, he is. I love him to death, and I don't want him to go.
No, I agree.
now would be the best time to run for president, JT. You have serious momentum on your side. Despite it being days later and everyone having more time to think, the plan has evolved, but the end result is unchanged. Vote out Brendan, but split the votes on Sierra just in case he plays the idol.
I've already got it set up so 4 votes go to Brendan, 3 votes go to Sierra. If Brendan gets wind of it, uses his idol, Sierra's gone, Brendan's gone in 3 days from that.
In case you are unaware, I haven't mentioned it so far in this story since it is a non-factor, but during the pre-merge, the players who were going to Exile Island formed a cross-tribal alliance consisting of Taj, Brendan, Sierra, and Steven. Now that they are all together, they pull in JT to join them. However, JT lies to Brendan. Long story short, the Exile Alliance is already in the process of falling apart due to bad communication, and nothing will really happen with them. Later on, JT is talking with Steven in one-on-one where he catches Steven up on what Brendan said about throwing his game for JT, and I think Steven speaks for all of us when he says,
He said he wants me in the finals.
Why would he want that?
Yeah, he likes me a lot.
But that's crazy.
I do need to mention something else crazy that happened this episode, as at the beginning of it, Coach told everyone this story. Now, it didn't have anything to do with Steven, but since him and JT talk about it, it becomes relevant. This story the coach tells is about the time he was kayaking in the Amazon and is kidnapped by the locals who tie him to a stake and beat him. Almost no one believes it, and in Coach's story, I do a dramatic reading of the whole thing. But for this story, it is important to know that Coach was fairly credible before, but after this tale, everyone is questioning if he's even legit or not.
Yeah, he's crazy. He is somewhat crazy. I think that story about him being captured on the Amazon, that's just hard to believe.
That is pretty hard to believe.
At Tribal Council, Jeff asks about JT, and Taj says that this guy is a triple threat of perfection, really painting an unintentional target on his back.
JT is fast, he's a lovable person, he's like a triple threat because you just can't find anything wrong with him.
In the end, the plan works perfectly as Brendan is voted out in a 4-3-2 split vote.
Brendan, tribe has spoken.
Back at camp, you might think the old Timbiro would bond and realize that, okay, we got Brendan out, but we can't just let these Jalapao members slide to the end while we bicker and fight with each other, right? Wrong. Instead, we see Tyson and Sierra fight.
For the record, I'm not trying to save myself here. It's fine. I don't mind being the 7th person out. That's fine. It's an accomplishment in its own. I just want to just be honest. I didn't come up with any of the plans, but I did follow. I already said this out loud. If I made bad choices, then that's...
Sierra, we're going to go to sleep, okay? We know the runaround that you like to give. And I'm not trying to be rude right now either.
Okay, so I'm giving you a runaround.
Well, yeah, you are giving excuses.
I'm not giving...
I mean, you basically said you're a follower.
I didn't...
And then you made more excuses as to why
I'm not saying I'm a follower. I'm just saying that I thought I believed in something, and to a certain extent, today was a surprise, so well done, and... Okay, Tyson, just be rude about it, gosh.
She didn't want to take the credit for anything that had happened. I knew what she'd do. I knew she'd backpedal and scramble and try and get people on her side, but nobody's falling for it.
I'd sure never treat any of you guys like this if it was vice versa.
Okay, well, the prodigal daughter returns. I'm very happy Sierra is going next. In your face. Eat it, Sierra.
With Brendan and his idol gone, JT wins reward with his team, and he sends Steven to Exile Island to make sure if anyone has their hands on the object of power, it is the Jalapao 3. However, at Exile, there are no new idols, just another clue to the idols that have already been found, and now Steven has to suffer living there with absolutely no purpose.
I'm here for nothing.
Back at camp, it is important to know that Tyson won the first 2 individual immunity challenges following the merge, and he came super close to winning the 3rd that happened in this episode. So Steven has a wild thought. Let's just vote out Tyson, which is incredibly risky since he is part of this new alliance, but Taj, Aaron, and JT all agree.
I think we might just take out Tyson. We might not get another chance. That's true. I mean, this is like the time, it's like opportunities knocking. What the hell are we, I know. I think it's going to be Tyson.
That's a big move.
Steven's basic thought here is that he wants Tyson gone to avoid one player going on a crazy immunity run that gets them to the end of the game, and he says this happens every season, which is untrue, but we do know where he's getting at with saying this. And he says instead of Tyson, let's make it someone else. Keep that in mind for later, it's quite prophetic.
It happens every season someone goes on a run. Let's make it you.
While discussing whether to vote out Tyson or Sierra next, we learn that JT is not very fond of her at all, as he says this.
Sierra is a lying bitch, and I hate her. I hate her too. I want to get her away from my face too.
A rare villainous moment for our beloved hero. So she must really suck to get that reaction from him, according to the story we're seeing here. Coach then talks to JT and says we are good to vote out Sierra and keep the Warrior Alliance strong, right? Which has JT saying, of course, as he shakes Coach's hand, knowing that this is not going to happen.
I know I can trust you, and that's so important to me, man. You have my word. There you go. It's really gonna crush Coach.
At Tribal Council, Coach is unintentionally setting himself up for some heartbreak, as when he talks about JT, he says this is a man of honor who he can trust no matter what.
The first time I looked in JT's eyes and I shook his hand, I knew that where he comes from, that meant something. And I see honesty and trust, and I see a warrior in battle. That's somebody, obviously, that I respect and I believe 100% when he tells me something.
Tyson is blindsided in a 5-3 vote, totally betraying Coach and Debbie as well.
Tyson, the tribe's spoken. Time for you to go.
Episode 11 starts with Coach and Debbie in a haze of confusion. They pretend like, wow, that was a brilliant move you guys made when you blindsided us. But Steven doesn't like this because of course they're being disingenuous.
It was a good move, guys. And I appreciate you not telling me.
Bold and brilliant tonight, guys.
So basically anything we had done was the greatest thing that had ever been accomplished. You know, what a tremendous blindside. It worried me a little bit because I would rather have an honest blowout than have people smiling saccharine smiles at me and, you know, plotting something else.
This turns out to be more true than he knows, as when Coach and Debbie are alone, Debbie is raging mad about being blindsided and says they need to do something about JT, Steven, and Taj because those three could take over this game, meaning she wants to get them out. Steven goes on to win the reward challenge and he gets to pick 2 people to join him, so he chooses JT and Taj. Coach says that's cool that he picked them, he still trusts Steven. While on said reward, the Jalapao 3 talk and Steven says, we should keep Coach around since he is a weak player in this game, but Debbie is a strong threat. JT says he agrees and Sierra should go next.
I mean, our next move is obviously Sierra, right? Because Coach is really secure right now with us.
I think so.
Upon returning back from the reward, something big went down while they were gone because Coach talks to JT and tells him how Sierra and Debbie tried to reform the Timbir Alliance, but he said no. While Sierra talks to Steven and says Coach and Debbie tried to reform the Timbir Alliance, but she said no. Sounds pretty similar, doesn't it? JT is not sure who he should believe, and neither does Steven.
There's a lot of stories being told, a lot of paranoia setting in. I don't know what's going on, so I've got a lot to think about now.
Now, not long after that, to prove a point, Sierra picks a fight with Coach and Debbie and says, admit it, you are the one lying, not me. Which Coach and Debbie just deny. When Steven and JT talk to each other and piece together the facts, they realize that Sierra has to be the one telling the truth, and they are correct.
I think Sierra just caught Coach in a lie.
Yeah.
It sounds like they actually approached her about, let's take out Jalapao, and she said no.
Despite Sierra telling the truth and Steven knowing it, it is decided that keeping Coach and Debbie happy is better for his end game than siding with Sierra, so she is voted out in a 4-2 to 1 vote.
Sierra, the tribe has spoken. Time for you to go.
Episode 12 begins, and apparently Debbie is driving JT and Steven up the wall, since they both say how much she bugs them, with Steven even doing a pretty funny impression of her.
Hey, man. Do you think the shelter's for me? Is it gonna rain today? I think it's clearing up. JT.
The reward challenge is actually the infamous Survivor auction, and in a deal that requires Taj to go to Exile Island where her husband will join her, everyone else gets a loved one's visit back at camp. We see JT with his little sister and she cries when she sees him, and he does his best to contain his outer emotions. While she is there, he shows her one of the snacks he has been eating and offers her one, to which she is disgusted by.
What is that?
Called Jatoba. You can make tortillas out of it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Here, try it.
After the loved ones leave, we learn what exactly JT's philosophy is when it comes to talking to and strategizing with Coach, and actually it's quite simple. Since JT knows he is many steps ahead and Coach is a simple man at heart, he just tells him whatever he wants to hear, since Coach continually pushes for Taj to be voted out, and JT knows that is not happening anytime soon.
I feel like I'm really a few steps ahead of Coach when it comes to strategy. I tell him what he wants to hear at this point to make it look like I'm on the same page he's on. when in turn, you know, we're not really on the same page right now.
Debbie decides it is time to go hard on flipping on Coach. The writing is on the wall for him and her, and she wants to have no part of that. So she offers JT and Steven a final 3 deal where if they take her to the final 3, she will just let them go to final tribal, even if she accidentally wins final immunity. She says she will just hand final immunity over to JT. She'll just roll right on over for them. A lucrative offer to be sure, but Steven isn't too sure if he can trust her, so he may need to vote her out instead.
You cannot really trust anybody's promises out here. I don't know Debbie that well. I've known her for 10 days. I don't know her personal relationship with God or what her swears to God mean.
She's throwing Coach under the bus right now, and they've been tight since day one. You gotta watch out for people like that.
This is a lucrative offer, but definitely a hard one to believe that is real, right? They haven't known her that long after all, but what else is new? She wouldn't be the first player to want to throw everything away to benefit JT. Coach then comes to talk to JT and Steven, where he lays another editing hint as to what we should be expecting as an audience.
You guys realize I'm just going to tell you this right now? I'm just going to throw a reality check on you. One of us 3 is going to win it.
Back at camp, he is pretty happy with how things have gone since the merge. Sure, they lost Joe, but despite being down 6-3, Timbira has fractured and self-destructed, and the Jalapao 3 have been able to take advantage of this pretty easily. Him and JT even talk about how easy it has been, and they are blown away by how all this is playing out.
No one wants to vote us out.
I don't know why not, neither.
I know, they all know that we're sort of running things. Everyone wants to get on our good side.
At Tribal Council, it is determined that Debbie is too big a threat to keep around anymore, and she is eliminated in a 4-1-1 split.
Debbie, the tribe has spoken. Time for you to go.
Episode 13 begins, and Coach was not in on that last vote. Steven and JT play it off like they saved him because Debbie was gunning for Coach, which is half true. She did say let's vote off Coach, but that is not why they voted her out. Coach is absolutely relieved by all this though, and buys this lie hook, line, and sinker.
You know who wrote your name down, right? What?
Debbie wanted us to send you on that.
I was like, wow. JT, Aaron, and Taj, and Steven mounted a counterattack against Debbie to save me.
You have to be asking yourself, how does Coach trust JT at this point? He's just been blindsided by him twice. But that is just the power of JT's social game. No one cares that he's a threat despite knowing that he's a threat. They just want him to like them. At this point in the game, everyone has been to Exile Island, some more than others, as Taj has gone 4 times and Steven has gone 3. Only Coach and JT have avoided it, who are still left in the game, and at this point there may only be 1 trip left to the island happening, and Coach does not want it to be him. All of a sudden, Coach has 1,000 reasons that he's telling JT and Steven as to why he can't go. All of them either seem made up or exaggerated, and Steven isn't buying any of it, while JT says, who cares? Coach is being voted off next anyways.
JT and I are eager to send Coach to exile. He has been so skittish about it. He has been selling out everyone, trying to get them to go to exile before him.
Coach, he's just really scared to go to exile. And such an adventurous, soulless coach shouldn't really be scared to go to exile. So, you know, I'm ready to test him, and also we're planning on sending Coach home in the next Tribal Council.
And as if Coach's begging wasn't enough, we see in a secret scene him telling them a story about how he had brain tumor one time and was told he had 6 weeks to live. Is this true? I don't know. How come Coach went from portraying himself as a man amongst boys to this like weak, frail, old individual who has experienced so much when Exile Island is on the line? Very interesting. You got me. JT says, I don't even know what to believe since most of what Coach says sounds like it came from a book he read once. Now at the reward challenge, JT wins, but it was close as Coach was on his tail the whole time. So much for his physical ailments holding him back. He sends Coach to exile, which will be very overdramatic. Watch Coach's story video for all of that wonderfulness. And JT picks Steven to go with him on the reward. Now on that reward, we do get a real aw shucks kind of moment as JT tells us he has always dreamed about being on a private plane.
I just really soaked it up. That's always been a dream of mine to have a private plane or to be able to fly in one like that, and it was really awesome.
They finally arrive and it is luxurious. Now you probably wouldn't take one look at JT and think to yourself, now there's a man who enjoys good showers. But for JT, they can be pretty wild.
Oh man, can't get enough of this soap. 34 days. I have not washed my nasty tail.
That night, him and Steven raise a glass to celebrate their accomplishments so far, and hey, they are now up on Timbera 3-2. Who would have saw this coming, with Coach and Aaron still not wanting to work with each other? What luck. Here it is to the final two.
Cheers.
To the final two in this game.
Final two.
At the immunity challenge, Coach is truly at his peak overdramatic self and acts like he is in the worst shape ever, but loves it. Cut to them competing, and somehow it comes down to only JT and Coach for the win, and in another overdramatic move, Coach collapses, and JT does win.
Coach steps down. JT has won individual immunity.
Oh my God, man.
Back at camp, Coach asks JT if Aaron is going and whether any surprises will be happening at Tribal Council or not. Of course, JT and Steven just tells him exactly what he wants to hear.
I mean, I'm just asking, right? I mean, there's not going to be any surprises tonight, right? No. I'm done with the surprises at Tribal, man.
At Tribal Council, Coach is surprised in a 3-2 vote that actually sees JT voting with Coach, but he knew Coach was being voted out no matter what, so that's why he did it.
Coach, the tribe has spoken.
It is finale time. JT versus Steven versus Taj versus Aaron. Who will go to the final two and convince the jury that they are worthy of the title of Sole Survivor? Let's find out. Right away, JT takes a moment to reflect upon the great accomplishment of the Jalapao 3. They got to the end under incredible odds, and him and Steven really led the way for that.
It's hard to believe that I'm still here, final four. There's a huge feeling of accomplishment, especially for me, Steven, and Todd. The remaining three Jalapao are here in the final four together.
We then see Taj decide, hey, now is as good a time as any to learn how to fish. So she asks JT and he teaches her in a very fun secret scene. However, I think it was cut because in the story, they're showing us dangers afoot for JT. Right away, Steven and Taj acknowledge that if they're going to reach the final two and have a shot to win, JT has to go.
You know, if JT loses immunity, ...
This is really the first time all game anyone's even mentioned JT as a target. So JT's neck is all of a sudden on the line, but Steven's prophetic words about someone going on an immunity run each season keep ringing true as JT secures himself his second individual immunity win.
JT wins immunity! I'm so close. Once again, JT is safe at Tribal Council.
Back at camp, Steven says, I am pretty sure we can beat Aaron in an immunity challenge, but Taj is a stronger threat. Plus, the jury is bound to like her more. Now may be the right time to turn on her. Plus, Steven is worried that Taj would take JT over him to the final two. Either way, Steven is right and JT says no matter what, he will stick with him.
We're definitely reassuring Taj that Aaron's going home, and Aaron may be going home. We're not sure on what we're going to do tonight, but Steven and I are going to stick together on whatever decision we make.
At Tribal Council, it is decided that Taj's threat to JT and Steven winning it all is too large and they vote her out 3-1.
Taj, the tribe has spoken. Time for you to go.
It's a big risk, so let's see if it pays off. After Tribal Council, we hear from JT about how hard it was to vote out Taj and how he really didn't want to betray her at all. He says the ramifications of his actions are already annoying him.
I'm already suffering the consequences because Erin is the most annoying person I know in the world, and she will not shut up.
The next day, Aaron is talking to Steven and says, I want you at the final two with me, and he says ditto on that, which cannot be good for JT at all.
I already have my decision made if I win. I'm taking Steven with me. It's the choice that's going to give me the best chance of winning.
That would be the best decision for the both of them since no one has a shot against JT. But this decision is not as easy to make as what it seems like it would be on paper. Steven is slightly afraid to win immunity because he would be in a real moral conundrum.
Do I take JT to the final two, my friend, ally, you know, the person who I'm closest with in this game, or do I take Aaron, who I'm not even particularly fond of, but who I have a very good shot of winning $1 million against?
Prior to the immunity challenge, JT promises Steven that no matter what, he will take him to the final two, and Steven promises JT the same thing. At the immunity challenge, it gets intense as Aaron is the first to drop out, so it becomes JT versus Steven. Whoever wins gets to pick who they sit next to at the final Tribal Council. So what happens?
Steven drops out. JT wins final immunity and a guaranteed spot in the final two.
Back at camp, all those talks with Aaron start to haunt Steven as she immediately rats him out for what he said to her, and JT is slightly offended by all of this. JT then talks to Steven and essentially asks, hey, Aaron told me this thing, is it true? Steven lies, and once again we see he isn't very good at lying, especially when it comes to lying to JT.
I mean, she told me you would have took her.
That's not true, you know that.
I hope so.
At Tribal Council, Jeff is asking Steven and Aaron why they should go to the final two over the other person, and Steven lays out his case, which is partially an emotional one, and something that hasn't happened until this episode is Jeff making Steven look dumb in front of the whole jury.
And you know, I gotta admit, when you weigh $1 million versus a breakfast with your 39-day friend, you're right, that's a tough one. Aaron, you might be best off saying nothing at all. Steven might be making a better case for you than you can make for yourself.
Damn.
Jeff is going really hard on Steven here, but in the end, JT stays true to his alliance with Steven and votes out Aaron.
Aaron, the tribe has spoken.
It is now the final day of the game, and JT and Steven get to celebrate with their breakfast that Steven has been craving, and what is said next is still true as of the time of this video.
So you and I are gonna be friends for life. It's hugely satisfying to be here with JT at the end.
We're just enjoying every bit of it ourselves, living it up. The last day in Brazil, and the conquerors of this game.
Let's cross it off. Here, you do it, man.
You don't mind?
No, you know, I'll hold the paint and you can dip the brush. That way it's really a team effort.
They 30.
I've got 38. Oh, very nice.
Man, it has finally come. When it comes time to leave for Tribal Council tonight, leaving camp would be, you know, kind of sad, but it'll also feel good. You know, Steven and myself will be leaving camp, will be the last two standing. And when we look back, there'll be nobody else there. Nobody's voting us off. We're leaving because the end of the game is here, and we made it, day 39.
Prior to Final Tribal Council, we hear from JT once more, who says that who knew at the beginning of this game that him and Steven will become great friends. The close bond they built together is proof that you should never judge a book by its cover.
We have changed for the better. You know, don't judge a book by its cover, obviously, and don't go off first impressions. Outside of the country guy and the city guy, you know, when it comes down to it, we're a lot alike.
It is time. Final Tribal Council. Will the jury choose the easy win in JT, who has charmed them all with his social game, or will Steven be given credit as the brains of the Jalapao 3 Alliance that ended up running the game? Let's find out. JT starts off with a good opening speech that includes him reminding everyone he is a poor cattle rancher who is the first in his family to graduate college, but he is definitely not looking for any pity votes. He says he got to this point in the game by working hard and sticking his neck out, and yet despite sticking his neck out and everyone knowing that he's a threat, he received 0 votes against him all game. He tells the jury he feels like he made friends with them all, and he picks Steven to go to the end because he felt like Steven deserved it more than Aaron, who he knew he could easily beat if he had brought her.
I'm obviously not a Yale graduate or English major or anything. My buddy Steven here. I'm actually the first person in my family to ever graduate college, and to make friends with you guys. I mean, it was very hard to vote you guys out. The way we picked who we voted off was the people that we thought were going to vote us off. And hadn't we not gotten rid of you, you'd be sitting where I'm at today, and I'd be over there, there's no doubt about it.
What JT says here comes across as noble and honorable, and the jury eats it right up, which is really the most important thing. Brendan is the first juror to ask a question, and he basically tells Steven that him growing in this game is not as valuable to him, as JT just straight up dominating everything from start to finish. JT even chimes in on this and dunks on Steven.
You know, JT is an amazing outdoorsman. I came in with none of these skills. I still persevered and will be leaving the game with many of them.
Growth is irrelevant, really. I mean, that's something you can carry home with you. That's something that's good for you personally, but obviously, you know, if you go to a football game and just because it was harder for you to catch the ball and you catch it doesn't make it better than the person that already knew how to catch it.
Aaron is next, and this is very telling about where she is as a juror, as she asks a question that completely pins Steven with guilt for betraying all of his alliances, and somehow Aaron ignores how JT did the same exact thing to the same people. It's secretly brilliant somehow.
Almost everyone in every one of those alliances is on the jury. So should I just vote for JT?
Debbie is third, and she asks JT who he really is since she thought he was great until he turned on her. He uses a great emotional tactic that works wonders on Debbie, who is a mother herself.
Debbie, I'll be honest with you. When I come into this game, my mother told me, do not believe what everybody tells you. You're gonna have to lie to win this game.
Coach is fourth, and he asks JT how he lived up to being the noble warrior. And JT says that he stuck to his word with Coach. Not true at all, but he focuses on that one time that he did stay true to his word when he voted for Aaron like he said he would, even though he knew Coach was going home. JT even says he would have been proud of Coach sitting next to him at Final 2, and he's really stroking Coach's ego in just the perfect way, while also playing victim to Steven.
Because I knew you'd have taken me to the Final 2. I thought Steven would. But I just found out otherwise.
Sierra is next, and JT's answer to her question almost has zero effect since she straight up just burns Steven.
And for JT, what does taking the strongest really mean to you? Because you're standing with one of the weakest players I've ever seen.
Tyson is next to last, and he is ready to provoke a fight as he asks JT if Steven was an asset to him getting to the end of the game. JT says he was, but he could have gotten to the end without Steven. Now, JT could be right, we'll never know for sure, but I think his answer is underselling Steven a lot. Steven was a lot more valuable than JT's letting on, but this is Final Tribal Council, and the goal is to win the million, not to make your partner in crime look good.
Could I do it without him? I feel like I could have made this adventure without him, but I don't think it would have been near as easy.
Steven, you want to reply to that?
Taj is the last juror, and she asks why voting her out seemed just so easy for JT and Steven. And JT says that is actually not the case at all. Voting for Taj was extremely hard for him. In fact, it was the hardest vote he made all game.
Taj, there was nothing effortless about putting your name down. The hardest vote I made in this game was voting you out. Taj, I've stuck my neck out for you this whole game as well as you for me. We've been like brother and sister. I mean, it was almost harder than my vote last night.
Now, for perspective, Steven never gains any traction at all during this Final Tribal Council, and if you watch his video, you see how he tries and just fails with multiple different tactics. It is so clear who the jury favors, and JT does put on a great Final Tribal Council performance as a result. But before we cut to the live reunion, everyone votes and everyone is at Ponderosa together before they have to leave the Brazilian highlands. And it shows us that even in the midst of that brutal Final Tribal, JT and Steven are still friends.
For $1 million, I'm gonna say whatever I gotta say. I know you did too.
Look, we were both reaching in.
We started out holding back.
We did hold back, and then it came out.
Okay, wait. Here's my question, Steven. Did you make breakfast?
No, I put the breakfast.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. You could have had an easy night, and I would have made breakfast.
The bittersweet memories that run through my head of the battles fought and won for this game that are now long since dead. We long to see our families now and leave this magical land of Jalapão. But because we gave our very all and marched to the sound of the battle call to become legends in time with our rise and fall, we will leave here as warriors, one and all.
We then cut to the live show, and for the first time in Survivor history, we see the bow wrapped up on a perfect game.
First vote, JT. Second vote, the Warrior, JT. JT, the winner of Survivor Tocantins.
So yeah, that's it. JT just pulled off the first ever perfect Survivor game in Survivor Tocantins. What else can he do? How much more up can you go? Well, that's the thing. This video is not called The Rise, and the Rise of JT. It's called The Rise, Fall, and Destruction for a reason. He literally cannot play a better game than what he just pulled off. So when Survivor asked him to play again, only a few months after his masterful performance airs on TV, JT is riding high and is now flying solo without Steven Fishback. So can he pull off a second win? Let's find out.
39 days, 20 people, 1 survivor.
Here we go. Mere months after everyone saw JT Thomas pull off the first ever perfect game in Survivor history, he is back for Season 20 Survivor Heroes vs. Villains. This is happening in Samoa for the second time ever in the show's history, and this is the first full-blown all-returnee season since Season 8 All-Stars, and yeah, that means it's been a while. All-Stars didn't go so great, but this time it should be better. should be. We have 20 top tier players split onto 2 tribes, so of course let's meet up with JT.
The heroes are definitely people I would rather play the game with. The villains are the people I've always been against. So this is perfect for me to be on the hero side and battle it out against these punks I don't like anyway.
I'm a villain. I think villains are smarter than heroes because they don't mind stabbing somebody in the back to get where they want to get. It's a fact. It's a proven fact. Google it.
My tribe, the heroes tribe, and they're hard-working, they, tough guys, good people. And I was like, this is it. I can't wait to kick some ass out here.
I showed Russell Hantz side by side with JT because he's kind of the quintessential villain, even though no one here has seen him play on his original season yet, since it was only filmed a few weeks prior to this one. I also need to mention that Coach and Tyson are back from Tocantins as well, but they're on the Villains tribe, so they'll only come up if they're relevant. Could you imagine though if the Dragon Slayer was labeled as a hero? I would find that funny. Anyways, everyone flies in on their choppers to the beach, and right away a few villains say, hey, I feel unfairly labeled. Why am I a villain? With Boston Rob saying, the difference between a hero and a villain is really just perspective when it comes to Survivor. And Tom Westman chimes in and says, some people this season may change lanes. Some heroes may become villains, some villains may become heroes. We shall see. Though I truly doubt JT's gonna switch since he just called the villains a bunch of punks. We then have an epic reward challenge where Stephanie LaGrossa pops out her shoulder only to pop it back in herself. What a boss. Rupert breaks his toe and says, I'm staying in, and Sandra rips off Sugar's top. It's amazing, and in the process, JT does score a point for the heroes, and they ultimately win the reward challenge. Upon arriving at their camp, JT talks to James immediately and says, us physical threats need to band together and avoid the women dominating like they did in Micronesia. But then JT says that unlike last time, he is more willing to turn on his alliances if he needs to, especially with James, which then leads into this conversation with Tom.
If I were to get that far in the game and were to face a jury, I want somebody else who won the $1 million sitting next to me. Yeah. So, seeing you right away, I will, you want to make some kind of an oath, whatever. You and I need each other at the finals because we both won the money.
They have to choose one.
If either one of us, no matter how good a game we play, goes up against someone who didn't win, we lose. It's a good plan. All right.
People are expecting me to be that guy they saw in Tocantins, that guy who's stuck by his word and done everything he had to do. But this game's completely different because everyone's already seen me play. To win this game of Survivor, you have to have a dark side somewhere. You have to be willing to sacrifice some of your integrity to make it far in this game. And I'm not looking to save my hero name. I'm here to do what I have to do to win this game. So it's going to be a whole different ballgame for me.
Wow, without Stephen Fish back here, JT is going full villain. I mean, he did just pull off the best game possible statistically as a hero, so I guess why not try to win as a villain? What would be the point of winning twice as a hero? Well, I mean, another million, but that's neither here nor there. My question is, does JT even have it in him to go full villain? Well, we see America's favorite player, Rupert, struggle to make fire, and the golden boy, JT, gets it done in no time. He then kills a chicken by spinning it by its head, and James recalls how this happened one time when he was a child. His grandma spun a chicken by its head, and it was very traumatic, but in retrospect, it's kind of funny. But all the fun and games are shoved to the side when the heroes lose the immunity challenge on a puzzle, and back at camp, Tom, Steph, and JT are all worried about Sari. She dominated both seasons she played in and came up just shy both times. Personally, I would also be worried about Amanda, but I think because I saw Amanda lose both times legitimately at the end, Sari's the bigger threat. But ultimately, the easy decision for the tribe at this vote is Sugar, since no one's connected with her, and she is a challenge liability, and she is annoying Colby. So at Tribal Council,
Sugar, the tribe has spoken.
That is it for the premiere, and straight up, I'm not sure if JT can pull off being a villain, but I'm looking forward to seeing him try, as he's been a prominent figure of the heroes so far. By the way, do you like the content I make? Well, if you want to pick what I cover for videos and watch everything up to 6 months early, then consider joining my Once Upon an Island Patreon. You can cancel at any time, and there's a 15% discount if you do sign up for 1 year. Thank you for your support. Episode 2 sees JT being designated as the challenge leader by the tribe. They're like, hey, this next challenge, JT's done it before and he's won, so let's let him lead us. They all say, JT, we're gonna listen to you. So it's incredibly frustrating when they don't listen to him, and it seems like, from my observation, that Tom, Colby, and Stephanie give bad directions that goes against what JT said to do, and James yells at Stephanie to shut up. They of course lose immunity due to JT letting others take the lead from him, and back at camp, James completely flips out and says, "I haven't lost this much in my entire life." I mean, it's been 2 losses. So this reaction is a bit extreme, it seems like. But then James isn't done. By using only information he learned from Steph's first season and ignoring her second time playing, he paints the target on her.
Her teams don't ever win. Think about it. She's made it to the end by herself. She was the only person left on our entire tribe. And you mean to tell me that's good luck? Obviously not.
After tonight, I'm in one alliance in this game. I can either go with James, Rupert, and Amanda and bring Sari and Candace along, or I can go with Colby, Tom, Stephanie and bring Candace and Sari along. So one thing that I do know, I'm gonna piss a few people off.
Steph, the tribe has spoken.
Just some advice. Next time y'all lose a challenge, a little less cursing off your tribe might help.
Keep your mouth shut.
Oh, come on.
And Steph is gone. Even though she was better in Guatemala, which we completely ignored when talking about how bad she is, Steph has never been that great in challenges, despite how fit she is. Back at camp, JT apologizes to Tom for voting Steph out, and Tom says, maybe JT's being legit, but I don't know. The next day, JT talks to Candace, who reveals she's a lot smarter than he initially thought based on what he saw of her in Cook Islands, and goes, whoa, Candace has got to go right now. I thought she would be a pushover. So he talks to Sari and...
Hard to trust anyone out here right now.
Tell me about it.
Candace says she don't fully trust you.
Okay. I'm nervous now.
About what?
About us.
You're nervous about me and you?
Yeah.
Why? What?
I hear stuff.
Tell me what you hear.
That you don't trust me and...
Who said that?
I'm thinking, where did that come from? Because I have never said that. Either somebody is trying to make sure that she and I don't trust each other, or I'm thinking there's something weird going on.
A bold-faced lie just to put the target on Candace's back, no other reason. And Sari won't tell Candace, and in fact, Candace never finds out, at least not that we see. So now it's time for immunity, and can the heroes turn around their fortune?
Survivors ready. Go! Tom not messing around. Poverty now has Candace near the edge. Candace now takes Poverty out. Poverty first in the mud. Heroes score. Heroes lead 2-0. Rain coming down now for this battle. Coach in trouble. Coach in the mud for the villains. Heroes score. The Heroes lead. Sari goes after Jerry. She has her on the run. Jerry down. Jerry in the mud. Heroes score again. JT comes out hard and strong. JT going after Tyson. Tyson in trouble. Tyson in the mud for the villains. Danielle going hard against Amanda. Now Amanda has Danielle on the run. Colby goes strong. Rob slips but stays on. Colby pushes Rob into the mud. Heroes score again. James goes after Randy, and with one push, Randy in the mud. Heroes win. Immunity and reward.
Finally, they win an immunity challenge. It took them long enough, but don't get too excited, because if you think about it, both challenges they won were purely physical, nothing that had to do with puzzles or really anything else. And in episode 4, they lose reward thanks to Colby. Thanks, Colby. And back at camp, they discover a piece of paper in their coffee reward that they got in episode 3 when they won immunity that says, hey, there's an idol somewhere in this camp. Go find it. As it turns out, Tom finds it, and Amanda catches him in the act, and she tells JT. Well, in reality, she tells everyone his idol is not a secret at all. The heroes go on to lose immunity again, and back at camp, JT is on the warpath, this time to get rid of Sari. That is until...
Unbelievable. Why all of a sudden now we want to get Candace? It's crazy.
Sari is right. Sari is right.
At this point, if you need to get your idol, I get it, because I ain't got any control anymore. Sari's the mastermind behind this whole deal. Sari should be the one going home tonight.
Tomorrow we make our apologies, tonight we make our move.
I've got to make a big decision, a very big decision. I've seen Sari operate. I know how she plays. And it won't be long before she gets rid of someone like me. It's all up to me. I know where everybody over here is voting.
I mean, why get rid of Candace, who has no real proven track record of success when Suri is sitting right there on a silver platter? Suri's not good in challenges, and she's a social beast. Get her to the merge, and she's probably gonna reach the end, which is not a benefit to JT's game, but turning on the people he aligned with would make many of them mad. What to do, what to do. So, at Tribal Council...
I'll read the votes. Jeff. Thank you. This is indeed a hidden immunity idol. Any votes cast for Tom will not count. First vote. Tom. Does not count. Tom. Does not count. Tom. Does not count. Colby. That's one vote, Colby. Colby. Suri. Suri. Fourth person voted out of Survivor, Heroes versus Villains. Suri. Suri, the tribe has spoken.
In case you're wondering what JT is going to do any chance he gets this season, it's going to be to swing for the fences. You've heard in many videos how annoyed I get when people just sit on their hands, and this season, JT's doing the opposite. Any chance he gets, he's not sitting on his hands, which is gonna be fun for us. I don't know if it'll be good for JT, but it'll be fun for us. Back at camp, Colby says, wow, JT really proved himself as a hero tonight, siding with me. But then JT lies to everyone else and says he didn't decide on what to do until Tribal, where he realized Suri would flip on them all. I mean, that's a load of crap. And Rupert's angry with JT, and honestly, it is all a matter of perspective, like Boston Rob said. Are you on Colby's side? Because then JT's a hero. Or are you on Rupert's side? Because now JT is a villain. Well, JT then talks to Amanda, and...
They think I saved them. I didn't. I got rid of Suri when I had the chance. And I swear, I will never turn on you guys. Never.
Really?
I swear, Amanda, I would never lie to you. I swear. You don't believe me?
JT can tell me everything he wants to tell me, and I see right through him. In the back of my mind, I know that he will lie, and he makes alliances like they're, yesterday's news. I think he's made 20 alliances already. If he wants to play this game, game on. Bring it on.
JT thinks his gameplay doesn't stink, but everyone is smelling the nastiness of it. We then go to the reward challenge, where Jeff says, you are all playing for chocolate. Go ahead, have a taste. I want you to taste the chocolate that you're playing for. And no one on the Heroes eats any of it. And in fact, Colby gets pretty angry and says, Jeff, I'm ready to play right now. I don't want any of that chocolate.
There, Jeff.
Oh, wow.
Colby, you have a look on your face like this is annoying or somehow insulting. I handed you the plate and you were like, I don't want this.
I'm not annoyed with you. I'm ready to get to the challenge.
Free offer of chocolate. I'm just curious.
Let's go.
I got the message, brother. We'll go when I'm ready. Heroes, you're sitting out one person. It has to be a man.
I'll sit down. I'll sit down.
Colby gonna sit this one out for the Heroes.
So of course he sits out. Wait, what? During said reward challenge, James leaps for a rebound and ouch, he injures his leg badly. This challenge is called Schmergen Brawl, and it is brutal, as last season it caused a medical evacuation. Yeah, both times it has appeared, it has caused some serious damage. They end up losing the challenge, and back at camp, James is wrapped up so much that I am surprised he wasn't just pulled out of the game and sent to a hospital for x-rays. But unless it's life or death, they're not gonna pull you from the game. It is your choice. With the Heroes tribe now down, their biggest member, they lose immunity. And so far, they have only won 2 out of 8 challenges so far, and as I said earlier, they were both very physical challenges, and now their biggest man is out, so can they win those if they come up again? I don't know. Back at camp, Rupert says James being broken is still better in challenges and stronger than Tom. I mean, come on, let's be real. Rupert's talking out of his butt. Tom is infamous as the challenge beast. He won 5 individual immunity challenges his first season, and his tribe went on to win every single immunity challenge. Tom is no slouch. So my question is Rupert high? Just be honest and say you're aligned with James over Tom. Don't act like James being broken is better in challenges than the healthy challenge beast Tom Westman, because it's not true. Even Candace is like, yeah, this is so dumb. We're making a mistake. JT then ponders this idea.
Logically, I should vote out James tonight. But if I were to try anything snaky again, I'm around Rupert, James, and Amanda, that would put myself in a bad spot.
God, I hope JT is good.
JT cannot cross us.
This is so stupid because JT didn't vote with us last Tribal Council, but I'm really depending on his vote tonight. Because if he doesn't vote with us, that means he's voting with Tom, Colby, and Candace against James.
We're going to another Tribal Council, and most everybody's looking to JT for a vote.
And the reason for that is because JT is so wishy-washy. JT flip-flops at every opportunity that he has, because he's clearly just playing the hand that suits him today.
Personally, I think James should go. Tom has a proven track record of winning challenges in Palau, and James has now been severely injured in 2 of his 3 seasons. Maybe if he were good at puzzles, he should be kept over Tom, but yeah, James isn't that great at those. We've never seen him be dominant at those either. But it's not my call, as JT decides he is voting Tom out, so he lies to Tom and says, oh no, I'm not voting you off. And then he lies to Colby, who says JT is not dependable as he flip-flops constantly. So we go to Tribal Council, where everyone votes, and...
First vote. Tom. James. Tom. 2 votes Tom. James. That's 2 votes Tom. 2 votes James. Tom. 5th person voted out of Survivor Heroes vs. Villains. Tom. That's 4. That's enough. Tom, the tribe has spoken.
Wow, I mean, they deserve to lose another immunity challenge. Not that they're going to get the opportunity in this episode, as the heroes are now down 9-6 to the villains, and we go to the reward challenge where Jeff says, no matter what, both tribes are going to Tribal Council. Both tribes are voting someone out. The villains win reward, and somehow James outperforms Colby, which is crazy. And back at camp, Colby says, hey guys, no worries, just vote me out and let's have a nice afternoon. Wow, he's giving up just like that. Colby, the old challenge beast, has just given up. So talks happen amongst the remaining 4 who are not Colby or James, and they're like, hey, who should we vote off?
I mean, Colby's a good guy.
I know.
But even with James's leg, my foot, Colby was last.
I'm really shocked that Colby, he hasn't really pulled through in anything yet, but still James is hurt.
Even though, we all had an alliance with James, but I mean, even James knows at this point we have to win. He definitely eats us our house home.
He grabs 4 bananas on the way to the challenge and 3 more on the way back.
He's a competitor. No matter what will happen, he will give his all until we win, but we do need him.
But if you're giving your all and your knee blows out, our 5 has to be the strongest possible 5 we could have.
And you can't steal any more bananas when we come to the camp.
Everybody eats bananas.
Yeah, but when you get a banana, you get one for everyone else. It's like an etiquette.
Are we seriously caring about banana etiquette right now? Is that even a big deal? Who cares about that? Though to prove that James is still physically fit enough to stay, he has a foot race with JT where he loses while JT is running backwards. I am not sure what this proves, but either way, we go to Tribal Council where everyone decides, yeah, James needs to go, and he's voted off 5-1.
James, tribe spoken.
Yes, sir.
Can the heroes get their act together? That's what I want to know heading into episode 7. Somehow JT has survived despite going full wishy-washy villain, but that can't last forever. Can it? The heroes need to bond and make it to the merge without losing anyone else, because it doesn't seem like there will be a tribe swap at all, because if it were to happen, I think it would have happened by now. JT says the heroes are 5 strong and it's finally time for some redemption. They win the reward challenge, and with that reward comes yet another clue. JT says, hey, with this clue, all of us are going to go out and look for that idol, and we're going to use it together as a tribe against the villains. Everyone agrees, and things are really turning around as at the immunity challenge,
JT and Amanda working together for the heroes. Big immunity on the line. Heroes lose, they will be down to 4 tribe members left in this game. Heroes only a few pieces away. Heroes win immunity!
Episode 8 begins, and remember what JT just said in the prior episode about finding the idol as a tribe and being a team with it. I say to remember that because, yeah, he's out looking for it, solo, by himself, and...
What's everyone disappearing to?
Oh, man. Oh, that's it. I just found it.
Did you just find it now?
Let's get out of here. Found it.
You found it?
I just found it. I walked up after my long walk. Yeah. 5 minutes. Can I see it? Yeah. The first one of us that needs this after the merge, we use it. It's a beautiful thing. Yep. And we take them down with it.
Nice work, brother.
JT found the hidden immunity idol, which is not so great in my book because JT is the slimiest guy out here. He's running the tribe. He's got a little best friend interest with everybody. In every vote, he's been the one that's going back and forth, and everybody's coming to him trying to figure out which way is JT gonna go. and nobody calls him out. It would be in Amanda's best interest to work with me to get rid of him and the idol, or get rid of the idol. Either way, JT's dangerous.
He got caught. Amanda seems to have a nose for when someone is looking for an idol this season because she has found out both people right away as they're finding the idol. We then go to the reward challenge where the villains have packed up their camp and brought it with them. Is it already time for a merge? Because Tree Mail didn't seem to indicate there was a merge, so what's going on? Well, as Jeff reveals,
everybody drop your expectations. We are not merging.
Yeah, the villains are just dumb, I guess. However, the heroes notice the men on the villains tribe are being systematically eliminated. If Coach or Russell goes out next, then it seems like Micronesia 2.0 is in full effect. The heroes do win reward, and while eating their pizza feast, JT says it is so obvious how the women are running things on the villains' side. We can only hope that Amanda doesn't flip to them if that's true come the merge. So we go to the immunity challenge where it's all up to Colby and JT.
This is not even close. JT and Colby score for the heroes. Heroes win immunity.
We move on to episode 9 and the heroes can't stop thinking about whether a man was voted out again, because if a man is voted off, well, they might have to do something drastic. So upon arriving at the reward challenge,
Rupert, what's the reaction to seeing its coach that is now gone from the game?
Cannot believe Coach is gone. You know, but that women's alliance looks very strong. It's kind of obvious.
JT, obvious to you guys, it's a women's alliance.
I would have bet my life Russell or Coach 1 was going to be gone.
I mean, only Russell is left. It sure seems that way, but you can never be 100% positive. But hey, I mean, they did it once. Why can't the women do it again? And let's remember, this season JT is not sitting on his hands. He was the chosen one. Maybe he still is. He had the first ever perfect game in Survivor history. Things always seem to swing his way at the end of the day, and no one has seen Russell's first season of Survivor yet. So he mouths to Russell during the challenge, hang in there, and Russell looks grateful to have a friend on the other side. Now the heroes do lose reward at no fault to JT, and back at camp, JT has a plan so crazy, so insane, it just might work.
I got a plan.
Uh-oh, JT got a plan.
Russell knows he's going next. I give him a hidden immunity idol. He votes out Parvati. Bam. Parvati's gone.
Then just pick the girls off.
Pick them off like sitting ducks and vote Russell's ass out 6th.
You writing your letter to Russell, buddy?
Yeah. Russell, this is a huge turning point in this game. Just by competing against you and the few handshakes we've had, I feel like I can trust you. We will most likely merge at 10 people, and then you will be completely safe with us. Our 5 plus you will remain strong till the girls are done with.
This is your chance to show you're not a villain.
I'll put that at the end right here.
Good.
I think it's really crazy to give Russell the idol. You don't know what's going on over there. He could be in with the girls for all we know.
This is Survivor history.
Oh my gosh.
If we win, I'm gonna try to give Russell my hidden immunity idol. Based on me guessing that he's on the outs, which I really feel like he is, or this is our chance. That'll give us the numbers going into the merge.
I mean, this is insanely risky. This is a big move. If the villains go to tribal, both tribes are still evened up 5-5, even if Russell goes, and they can use JT's idol at the merge. But again, Amanda could flip, especially if the women really are running things. Then this could turn the tide and give the heroes a 6-4 advantage. After all, the other villainous men were goofs like Coach, Tyson, and Randy. What does a villain label really mean anyways? So the heroes do win immunity, but here's what happened during said challenge and right afterwards.
When the challenge is over, you go to JT, okay? He's gonna give you something. Okay? Use it tonight. Protect yourself. Get rid of one of them. And come on board with us, okay? Okay? Good. Get rid of her ass.
We'll have to take you in.
I'll do it later. Plenty of time.
Damn, we did it. And we got the idol out to Russell.
I have to label that as dumb no matter what. Giving away your idol to an unknown person is dumb, even if it ends up working out at the end of the day. But holy crap, imagine if this does work. Imagine if JT is right and the women are running things and Russell does play that idol and they do eliminate Parvati. That would be huge. Back at camp, the heroes are excited by the prospect, but it is now day 25 and we are so badly needing a merge is what they say. which finally happens. And when the villains arrive at the heroes camp, he sees Russell, which is great, but then he sees Parvati. What? This is baffling. How are both Parvati and Russell here? Unless, oh, duh, of course. JT figures out that obviously they both must have played an idol, and that's why Courtney was voted out instead. So he talks to Russell and...
You know, it's the first time I've been comfortable since day 4. Imagine so. This is where I stand. This is it for me. So don't even have any doubt.
I don't doubt you.
Don't have any, don't even worry. Where are my kids that I am on board with y'all?
Giving Russell the hidden immunity idol could blow up in my face. I mean, he could have never been going home. You know, he could be the leader of the girls over there. Do I believe it? Not a chance in the world. So, I mean, I trust him explicitly.
Hook, line, and sinker. They're biting everything I tell them. This is gonna be way easier than I thought.
So I've been kind of hiding a secret from you. You see, these story videos are always from the perspective of the one player they're about. So showing other people's perspectives is usually not important, especially not if they're on the other camp or tribe, because it either ruins the surprise or it literally doesn't matter. But in this case, I think it is absolutely crucial we rewind back to episode 9, as here's what happened right after JT gave Russell the idol at the challenge.
I don't even have to find idols. People are actually giving me idols. You don't hand the enemy the idol, especially when his name is Russell Hands. You don't do that. That's a no-no.
Play the idol tonight.
For sure.
To save yourself.
Save myself.
Because clearly, you're on the outside of an all-devouring female alliance.
Right.
I put that part in myself. I can't believe he's writing all this.
He's telling me what to do. He's giving me pointers. How do you give the idol king an idol? Here, Mr. Russell, here's an idol. This one's just for you. Well, thank you. You know what? I think JT just handed me $1 million. Hey, I guess he can afford it.
Hopefully, I can trust you, and you're not truly a villain.
Yes, I am.
Let's do this together. See you soon. BFF forever. XOXO. JT. Destroy this right when you finish reading. JT gave Russell his heart today. And Russell is just gonna stab it a million times over and hand it to me. And I'm gonna eat it.
Not since Eric Reichenbach in Micronesia have we seen something so insane. Isn't it weird that by trying to avoid Micronesia 2.0, JT is now causing it? And Parvati has evolved both times. Wild. Just wild. Russell, Parvati, and Daniel DiLorenzo are the power 3 of the Villains Alliance. Since the villains moved into this heroes camp, they are now eating everything, which annoys the heroes to no end. But after a quick chat with Sandra, Rupert talks to JT and Candace and says, hey, Sandra told me that you can't trust Russell. But JT says, I refuse to believe this. Russell's a good old boy. We can trust him. And of course Sandra would say something like that. She's a villain.
Parvati wouldn't be in this game if she didn't play her idol. No question asked.
I don't think so either.
Rupert. There's a reason that I've been doing Rupert's strategical play for him thus far. It's because he needs to be told where to vote by someone he can really trust and let that be done. So I just keep reminding him of that. Like, Rupert, think about this a minute. Do you believe what Sandra told you, or do you believe the obvious truth? I mean,
at the immunity challenge, Danielle wins, but only because Parvati let her. Huh. Weird. If Parvati thought that she had a chance of being voted off, why did she give up so easily? JT says this is a bit suspicious. Parvati might have another idol, so we need to vote for someone other than Parvati tonight. Back at camp, they debate. Should we vote off Jerry? Should we vote off Sandra? Both seem like good options, but Jerry is probably better in challenges, so we'll target Jerry. We don't think anyone will play an idol for her. But then Amanda, poor sweet Amanda, tries to tell Parvati to play her idol tonight for herself, but Parvati can see right through this and knows it's a trick. So at Tribal Council,
You know what, Jeff? Sandra, that's for you. Get out of here, for real. Jerry, that one's for you too.
Damn it. Thanks, Jerry. Sandra, these are both hidden immunity idols. Any votes cast for Sandra or Jerry will not count. Jerry does 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 not count. JT. JT, that's 2 votes, JT. 11th person voted out and the 3rd member of our jury. JT. JT, Travis spoken.
I feel like a total idiot right now. This is probably one of the biggest moves in Survivor history, and it did not go in my favor. It's pretty terrible to be voted out by your own idol. You know, I made a big move. You got to make moves to win this game, and I knew that. I know that people are villains for a reason. Don't ever trust them.
What a risky move that certainly didn't work out. He would have been better served hanging onto the idol and playing it at that merged tribal instead of handing it to Russell, who then handed it to Parvati, who then played it to get out JT. Just brutal. But hey, this season isn't over for him as he and Coach reunite on Ponderosa, who by the way is baffled that JT gave away his idol. I mean, who isn't? And we see him, Coach, and Courtney play so much rock band that Coach says, why don't we just form our own real band called the Dragonz? This ramps up fast as Coach writes 6 songs with JT on guitar, Coach on lead vocals, and Courtney assisting with vocals as well. We even see them wear their all black Dragonz attire to the Amanda vote off. Candace is then voted off next, and they record their one and only music video. But before I show you that masterpiece, I want to show you how they all try to wear their green Dragonz shirts to tribal. Take a look here. But in the actual show, only Coach was able to pull it off. As Dalton Ross reveals in his behind the scenes interviews with the band, production made them all change their clothes, and Coach had to fight tooth and nail to not have to get changed, so they ended up giving in and letting him. So why was Coach fighting so hard for the Dragonz? What made them so amazing? Well, have you seen their music video? So the real question is, can JT turn this thing around, as he is asked to play once again in season 34 Survivor Game Changers, which features 10 returning game-changing players and 10 players who once played on Survivor before. Let's find out.
39 days, 20 people, 1 survivor.
This is filmed 7 years after Heroes vs. Villains, so JT is a little older, but is he a little wiser? That's the question. This time, he isn't coming off the high of playing the first ever perfect game. In fact, he's been made fun of for the past 7 years for what he did on Heroes vs. Villains. In this new era of Survivor, it's all about excessive twists now, and JT has to play a new game to manage that. We see him end up on the blue Nuku tribe, which also has Ozzy, so they're kind of stacked right out the gate, no joke. They win the initial toolkit while jumping off the boat that was out in the ocean, and we then see them build an awesome shelter with it. And frankly, almost none of the interactions this episode will mean much moving forward because, well, I can't tell you yet, but just trust me. So just know that Suri is the target for this tribe, but as we see in this secret scene, her and JT apparently haven't talked since Heroes vs. Villains, as they say this.
Yeah, we good. We good. I never did anything to you. I didn't come for you last time, and I ain't coming for you this time.
I don't think Suri's gunning for me, but right now the number one thing for me is if I think you have any reason to come after me, you gotta go. I can't trust her because if I was in her shoes, I'd want me gone. So I gotta keep that in the back of my mind. I know. I paid for that.
All right.
I did. But we're good, Suri.
I wanted to try to clear the air, so I went to JT, to just check in and try to get a vibe and see, are we cool or are you coming after me? Which is weird, bizarre, because I didn't go after JT. JT came after me and I'm the one making amends. I'm letting everything go.
I owe you one.
It's like you're a new person to me. And don't make me regret that. I won't. I will come find you and kill you.
If something comes up, I will tell you.
It's crazy to me how polite you need to be in the beginning, but I'm a game changer and you don't want to make any enemies this early in the game.
Nuku then wins immunity, but since this opening episode is a two-parter, we see Nuku back at camp plotting to get out Suri, but believe it or not, it takes this long for us to finally hear JT speak directly to the audience, all because Ty wants to save food for the chickens.
There's a lot of corn! You gotta shout the well. Are you telling me don't get all the corn off the cob? Yes, don't. Ty and myself, both of us love animals, no doubt about it. I mean, I'm a country boy from Alabama, but I'm looking out for me and myself, and Ty seems to be looking out for the chickens. There's a lot of corn out here right now. In this level of competition, in this game, everything you do is critiqued. Anything can be a reason for someone to get rid of you. I'm gonna hide the rice before you give that to him. He's got to decide what he's here to do, win $1 million or marry these chickens.
That scene felt like it was more about Ty than JT, which is not a good sign for his overall story. How does this season only have 3 past winners, by the way, in JT, Sandra, and Tony? I just realized JT's being skunked. I have a theory I will tell you here in a minute, but for now we go to the immunity challenge, where Nuku gets the lead, Mana catches up, and then it's all on JT's shoulders to win them immunity.
Got this. JT scores the second letter. Woo! JT snags the third letter. Sierra snags the 5th letter. Malcolm scores the second letter. JT has the 6th letter. Malcolm snags the 3rd letter. Malcolm snags the 4th letter for Mana. Malcolm snags the 5th for Mana. Malcolm for the 6th. It is tied now, 6-6. JT snags the 7th. And he does it. Nuku pulls it out.
I told you I had a theory before, and it's now time to explain. Every interaction on the original Nuku literally doesn't matter for JT, and therefore introducing him to us was an afterthought because episode 2 starts off with a way too soon tribe swap that has 18 players going from 2 tribes to 3. But why? Why did they do this? In JT's first ever tribe swap in 3 seasons of play, which is wild to think about, we see that he stays on Nuku and everyone else that joins him is the old Mana tribe, so JT's an island. He's by himself. He's in a tough spot. Though upon arriving at the Nuku camp, all the old Mana members are like, wow, this camp was built really well and we love all the chickens you have. And JT's just sweating bullets and says, I need to find an idol to combat this 5-1 deficit. We then see in a secret scene how the chickens are laying eggs, but all Varner wants to do is kill the chickens. The entire tribe then decides to go out fishing, and while doing so, Malcolm bends the spear. So JT says, hey, I'll bring it back to camp and I'll fix it with pliers. Just wait for me. So when he's back at camp all by himself,
I came to get the pliers. I know I gotta be back soon. Just figured I'd take every second I got. And look, idols could be anywhere. I'm looking at every nook and every tree, every corner, every spot, every hole in a tree, up in the trees, behind the rocks, could be anywhere. What do you think he's doing?
I know, I kind of want to go look. I'm like, what are you doing, buddy? Come
JT might know where the idol is.
Yeah, or he might know. Yeah, he might know something.
It's never over till it's over, and I'm not giving up. Everybody knows that. And they probably know I'm looking for an idol right now, but I took them out as far out in the ocean as I could. And I left the pliers on purpose. So my job is to just keep looking. That's all I can do.
If JT's out looking for an idol, good for JT. It just doesn't matter. We have the majority 5-1, so JT is screwed.
Yeah, JT is fooling no one. This isn't Survivor Tocantins when everyone was mesmerized by him. Half of these players are game changers, but I have failed to mention that since day one, there have been goats wandering around their camp, but no one has caught one. That is until Sandra says, "I'm hungry, I want us to catch one now." So JT and Malcolm impressively run down 2 of them and catch them, but then everyone quickly realizes this is a mom and her baby. JT says on a moral ground, "I cannot eat these," and Sandra says, they're goats, they're meant to be food. Never change, Sandra, never change. The tribe ends up deciding to let the goats go and they decide to eat a chicken instead, and we then see them win reward and immunity. And then in episode 3, they win reward again. They're on a roll. He then talks to Malcolm and it is clear these two are getting quite close as they both agree the 2-time winner, Sandra, needs to go. Now this is a bad precedent for JT to set. If Sandra goes, he's the last winner left, which is a massive target on his back. At the immunity challenge, Jeff says only one tribe gets immunity and the 2 losers are going to vote off one person together, the first ever joint tribal council. Oh, this is going to be wild. Despite JT and Malcolm getting them the lead, Varner blows the win for them, so they are going to tribal with Mana. Thanks, Varner. On the plus side, they have 6 members and Mana has 5, so JT says, "I won't flip on you guys, I promise." But then he starts talking in a way that I haven't quite heard since that time he gave Russell the idol.
Who do you think Brad will target over here?
The most trustworthy relationship I have on the Mana tribe is Brad Culpepper. If I was a betting man, Brad's over there now saying, all our votes are going to Sandra. I could be a swing vote and vote Sandra. But it's a big risk. I could just simply go with majority and vote Sierra or Ty. But, you know, I'd much rather see Sandra go. If I wanted to, I could definitely change the course of this game big time. A little jacked up.
Dude, play it cool. It's only episode 3. Don't do anything crazy yet. We go to tribal council where people begin whispering amongst themselves, and the talk is whether Haley or JT will flip sides since both seem to be on the outs on their respective tribes. Right now, Nuku plans on targeting Sierra since she is good in challenges and they think Mono won't see it coming. But then JT does something unprecedented.
Continue with that.
Never in Survivor history has it been allowed to get up from your seat and talk to others. In fact, in the past, Jeff has shut this down and said all talk needs to be public, no secrets or tribal. But hey, it makes for good TV, so I guess the rules can just change on the fly. JT not only tells Brad Culpepper that they are targeting Sierra, but he says, please vote off Sandra. If this happens, it would be a big move. A dumb move, but a big move. So they all go to vote, and...
Jeff, I think I'm gonna give it to Pretty Lady. Here you are.
Thanks, Sierra.
Thank you.
Any votes cast for Sierra will not count. Sierra does 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 not count. Malcolm. Malcolm. That's 2 votes, Malcolm. 4th person voted out of Survivor Game Changers. Malcolm. Malcolm, the tribe has spoken.
Straight up, no one thought anyone on Mana had an idol, but Ty is an expert at finding them. We see in a secret scene on Mana how they love JT for what he did and hopes he will be safe after that big move. And back at the Nuku camp, JT lies and says, I never told Mana they were targeting Sierra. But Sandra, rightly, doesn't believe him. She wants revenge. The next day, JT says, I am in so much trouble. I need the idol bad.
Lo and behold, I found a clue.
Yes.
And it says, to find your safety requires intersecting landmarks around your beach. Search casually or in desperation. Your protection is in reach.
Got it. Call this up. Congratulations, you found the hidden immunity idol.
I'll never tell a soul, and that idol will keep me in this game.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Well, I guess he's safe for one more tribal, and that might be enough to make it to another tribe swap. Who knows? In this excessive twist era of the game, truly, who knows? Nuku wins reward, and back at camp, Michaela wants to enjoy her spoonful of sugar with just a little bit of coffee. Quite literally, she just wants the sugar, not really any of the coffee that it is intended for, and this annoys JT. Sandra sees that this annoys JT and decides, if I eat all the sugar, I could cause chaos. And it works.
Damn, sugar's gone. I know who's been eating it. Who's been eating it spoonfuls at a time? Michaela. Where did it go? In her mouth.
Well, I don't eat sugar, so.
I know, I don't eat it. Somebody does.
I wonder who's been drinking all the coffee with sugar in there. You put the sugar in your coffee?
I've been drinking a lot of coffee.
Oh, must be y'all two.
It's no secret, honey bun. It's all right. It's sad that the sugar's gonna be gone, but nothing's gonna be sweeter than watching Michaela walk home tonight and get her torf snuffed. It's wet on the inside, so that means she licked it. I swear.
Let me see this jar of sugar she licked. And that's it for this jar.
That's it, ain't it?
This is done.
I told you, that's crazy.
Wow, that was so dumb and yet so funny. But then we go to the immunity challenge where Mana wins easily, and so it becomes a tight race between Ozzy and JT to win immunity for their respective tribe. Ozzy hits one, JT hits one, and it just goes back and forth until JT barely misses the last target and Ozzy gets it. Dang. Back at camp, there's a debate between voting off Michaela and JT, and he says, we don't need no sugar thief on their tribe. And Sandra just laughs and says, do you mean a sugar napper? And he's like, yeah, a sugar napper. And she just laughs even more. JT has no idea. At tribal council, he basically admits that he told Mana that Sierra was their target. And Michaela says, I don't like JT. He thinks he's running the show around here. The two bicker, and then everyone goes to vote.
Got a lot to learn, kid.
For the record, you don't think for me. You don't speak for me. I ain't your little friend.
Michaela. JT. Michaela. 2 votes, Michaela. JT, we're tied. 5th person voted out of Survivor Game Changers. JT.
Tell Malcolm you sent him home, too.
I will.
JT, the tribe has spoken.
I didn't bring my idol to tribal council because I didn't climb to the top of the mountain and get it, and I had a bad feeling about halfway through tribal council. So I could have gotten my idol today, I just didn't. I didn't make the long track back up to the top of the mountain because I didn't want people to get suspicious, and I didn't think I needed it. I made a very, very foolish mistake, and I probably let a lot more than myself down. I probably let a lot of people down.
I was literally about to ask why JT didn't play his idol, and I guess that explains it. I mean, it's not a good explanation, but it explains it. What a huge letdown after Tocantins. I told you there's nowhere to go but down, and sure enough, he went down, down, down. Back-to-back performances where he goes out on a risky move. Though I saw the logic in his risky move in Heroes vs. Villains. Here, it was just dumb. An even dumber way he didn't get his idol. However, his swing for the fences gameplay is so fun to watch, and I hope to one day see him play again on a Legends season potentially. So what do you think about JT Thomas? Do you want to see him play again? Let me know down in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and doubly thanks for liking and subscribing. See you all next time.